Hey guys, so I'm doing a part 2 on the scientific research of ESP, psychic mediums, remote viewers, intuition, healers, blah, blah, blah. So in 1975, our government had a project that they started, I think in 1975, don't quote me on that time, but that they started. There was a couple of different programs within the government, one called Stargate, one called Grill Flame. And what it was, they were taking people who had this extrasensory perception and trying to see if they could not weaponize them, but use them to their benefit. So in 1979, we had the Iran hostage situation where the Iranians took some American people and some other people and held them hostage for, I think, 250 days, maybe longer. I can't, maybe a year. It was a long time. But anyways, so what they did was they set out an inquiry within the military asking the military servicemen and women if they'd be willing to participate in an experiment, so to speak, kind of thing. They had 1,500 applicants within the service, and they tested them rigorously to find out who maybe had this gift. They finally narrowed it down to six people. Not saying that some of them 1,500 didn't have gifts, but it's like playing basketball, or baseball. Who can pitch the best? Who can bat the best? Who can da-da-da? So they narrowed it down to 6 people who were pretty spot on about things and wanted to practice, teach them more and more and more to see how well they could use their gift. Well, during this time, they had those 6 people, and it was located in Meade at a building, I guess, that you would not know was used for governmental programs. So they had these 6 people, and some of them they bring in, and they'd have either a photograph or a number inside a sealed envelope, and they would set that sealed envelope in front of this gifted person, and they would give them 30 minutes, the gifted person, to write down what they thought, felt, seen, whatever, heard, whatever came to them on a piece of paper. That's how they practiced with them. They also did meditation to teach them how to become one and to listen to their mind and have emptiness or stillness. So in 1979, when this Iran hostage situation happened, they were asking some of the 6 to see what they could pick up of where the hostages were located, or maybe the hostage takers were located. So one fella, I think his name might have been Uri Geller. I might be wrong on that. It might have been a different name. But anyways, he made a statement saying they are going to release a hostage within 4 days. Or they're going to release a hostage soon. And this hostage, I can't quite pick up his name, but it has to do with a deck of cards. And not only does this hostage's name have to do with a deck of cards, I feel like this person suffers from MS, which is multiple sclerosis. So within 4 days of that gifted person stating this to the government officials, within 4 days, they did release, the hostage takers did release this man. His name was Richard Queen. So Queen being in the deck of cards, and this man also suffered from MS. So this reader, which would be the gifted person, was spot on. So another one of those 6 had done a focus on the hostage takers or the hostages, and the government, he said he had seen cobwebs above the location of where the hostage takers were, and he didn't understand, but he's seen cobwebs all above them, and he told them, do not go in and try to take the hostages because it's going to be detrimental. Come to find out that the government was thinking about dropping helicopters right in that area, that location right above the hostage takers, and wipe them out. But I don't know how they figured this out or how they knew this, but those cobwebs that the gifted person was seeing was actually wires above where the hostages were that they had set up that were booby traps and would explode if a helicopter tried to come down in. So he was spot on, or she was spot on too. So just so you know, the government gives out money every year for programs such as healthcare, or maybe shelters or whatever. Every year they get together to decide where they're going to put this $1 billion or that $1 million or whatever. Um, so what's crazy about this is that, the government has denied for years and years and years that they ever use psychic mediums for any kind of program. Just recently, when the CIA started releasing information to the public, a lot of it's been redacted. You can't see what it says. Those documents came out also, Stargate and Grill Fire. So what's crazy is that we know the government started researching ESP and stuff like that in 1975. They had programs dedicated to it. Some officials would like to say that this programs didn't work. These people didn't know what they were doing. They were wrong more than they were right. Yes, sometimes they were only 30% right, but you got to take into consideration these people had never worked doing the psychic medium stuff before. They were being trained to do it. So yeah, getting 30% right out of 100 is not bad for first-time people that don't naturally know this gift inside and out. So some of the government officials said, oh, most definitely this program worked. We've done this, we've done that, this and that. Well, every year, if this program did not work, then I would like to know why the government sponsored this program and dished out millions of dollars every year for 20 years. Supposedly, they closed this program down in 1995, but I would beg to differ with that. And the reason why I'm begging to differ is because we know how our government works. They don't let everything out. And the reason they don't is because they don't want our enemies to know what we're working on. Or they don't want people within the United States to know that we're doing federal missing person cases or whatever, right? So back in the 75 to 95, the CIA was ahead of this program. But let me tell you something or explain something. Often programs get switched from one entity in the government to another. So there's a good chance that that CIA program never stopped. It just got transferred to a different entity within the government, like the DOD. Or maybe the FBI is ahead of it. You know what I'm saying? Or the scientific research government team. So I'm not saying that program technically, it got shut down in 95, but I guarantee there was a similar program still rolling all these years and probably continue to roll. And we just don't know about it yet. I mean, maybe in 20 years, them redacted CIA documents or DOD documents will come out. But to be honest with you, we're not the only country that worked with mediums. I know in Germany, they were working on that also at one point in time, using people who have extrasensory perception to help with war crimes, war things, whatever, during war, or to find people they're trying to locate that's gone rogue, whatever. And I'm sure Russia has done the same, and probably the Chinese government has done the same also. Can't speak on their behalf because I don't live in those countries. But just so you know, just to show that gifted people do have a gift. Now, grant you, there are people that live falsely and just like to take people's money. But if our government did not believe in people with these gifts, they wouldn't have had a program for 20 years that they spent millions of dollars on researching and testing these people and using them to their benefit. So that's just another scientific thing that a lot of us don't know about. And you can pull up some of these CIA records. And grant you, some scientists say it wasn't 100% accurate all the time. No, it's not. And I'll tell you why. When you are a gifted person, things come to you from energy or spirits or whatever you want to call it. And the information you receive might not be spot on how the story unfolds, right? Sometimes I might see a sunshine, like they're showing me a picture of a sun, and it could be that person had a tattoo of a sun, or that this person liked to paint suns, or he had 10 sons. So it's kind of like a puzzle, and you have to put it together. So when the guy saw the cobwebs, he's seen it as cobwebs. To him, it appeared as cobwebs. His spirit guides, his energy, whatever, picked up cobwebs. When in reality, it was wires all across that area that probably did look like cobwebs that were bombs or whatever, trigger bombs. So when we see things, it doesn't always mean what we say, but there's something related to what we see. And that's the problem. Sometimes we can blurt it right out because they're giving us that information so clearly. And other times it's like a puzzle that we have to put together and fit together because we can't figure out why we're seeing a yellow daffodil, or why all of a sudden out of the clear blue sky, this yellow daffodil pops in your head, you know? So there's going to be something related to that in a reading from a medium. I see yellow daffodils usually because it's a 10th anniversary of something, or it's an anniversary of a person's death or birth or a wedding or a marriage or whatever. Or it's an anniversary of something. If I see balloons, I definitely know that's a celebration for a birthday, a happy time. I know that it's a celebration for a birthday, anniversary. So it comes in different ways. And I don't know why it works that way, because I don't know still how my gift works full force. It's always a learning experience. But I do know that when I've seen these things, the sitter, who would be you getting a reading from me, the sitter will be like, oh, I know what the sun meant. He has a giant sun tattoo on his stomach, right? Or why am I seeing a guy pushing a lawnmower through knee-deep grass and he's laughing and he's pissed? Like, why did you let it get this so high? Might mean because that person who once was alive or whatever might have helped them mow their grass, and their grass was always knee-high when they would ask for help. See what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's hard to pinpoint down what every little symbol, sign, or whatever is said. And then sometimes you'll have it so clear that you can say, okay, your grandma's telling me about you and her baking homemade blueberry muffins, or picking wine grapes off her vine that you had as a kid, and she would make homemade wine. Sometimes it comes as clear as that. And sometimes it comes as a puzzle. But just so you know, that I guarantee that our government is still using people like me who are gifted for benefits of our own government, whether it's to locate people in the United States that are missing, or FBI, wanted on the FBI list, or what have you. I guarantee them programs still exist. And also, I'm going to start a religious, or not, I don't want to say religious, I want to start a spiritual awakening thing where I want to teach you guys about some religious things. I've been studying a lot about religions and the Bible and different aspects. But I just want you guys to know that this other video series I will also do, besides the research one, is going to be based on the missing books of the Bible. Most of you know we have the King James Version that Westerners or Europeans go by, but that Bible has been altered and changed, and books are missing from there. And back in, I think, 1945 in Nag Hammadi, they found scrolls or documents dating clear back from centuries ago in a jar when they were digging. And inside there were scripture from Bibles. And so there's a lot of books missing from the Bible that were taken out based on whoever was in charge, what their agenda was. And I've been saying this since day one, that I did not feel like the Bible was total truth. I felt like there was things missing and things added. And now that I've researched these kind of things about the Bible, I'm finding that is true. So there are some women that have scripture that should have been in the Bible that was eliminated or edited out. More than likely, the reason why the women were taken out of the Bible and their scriptures were never seen to people like us is because back in those times, women were lesser than men. And we all know all us women been fighting for equal rights since the beginning of time, probably. But back in those days, women were childbearing and they took care of the children, blah, blah, blah. The men were the superiors. So to put a woman in the Bible and let you see her, what she has to say, would have been really unheard of back then. So Constantine or King James or whoever discarded those women's scripture. Also, I recently just listened to the audio of one of the other missing books called the Book of Thomas. Now, this Book of Thomas almost brought tears to my eyes. And I'm going to tell you why real quick. Well, sort of quick. Almost brought tears to my eyes because for a long time, I have felt that no offense against Christianity or anything like that, because you guys only know what you believe and what has been taught to you. And some of you do go with your heart. Since day one, since I've been young, I've always felt something was off. I could never figure it out. But what I have been reading has hit home with me so hard, because I have always said from day one, your body is your temple. That's in the Bible. We know that. We've seen that saying, right? But in my sense, I kept saying that you don't need bricks and mortar to believe in God, that God is within us. We have the God gene. We all carry it. That you don't need those places of worship if you don't feel comfortable with a religion or a church or being part of that it's okay, because God is right here within us. I have been saying that since day one. Not only have I said that, is that some people make judgment against people like me who have gifts or claim to have gifts. And the reason is because they say it's the devil's work. Well, I'm here to tell you, in the book of Thomas, that has been eliminated from the Bible, it states exactly that gifted people, that's what we all were at one time. We all had the knowledge and the gift to speak to spirits or energy or whatever. And Book of Thomas reassures and says just that. Just what I've been saying, that God is within us. He's not in a bricks and mortal kind of place, mortar. He is within us, and we can speak to him every day. It also talks about your prayers. Now, most people will say a prayer like, oh, please, dear God, let me get this job this week, that I'm trying to get. Or please, dear God, let me hit the lottery. That's not technically how you should pray. I've always thought that when you pray, you should give gratitude to God for the blessings you already have right in front of you. That's how I've always done my prayer. Like, thank you, dear God, for my children. Thank you so much for the day I had today. That's how I've always seen my prayers. And of course, I do pray for people who are less fortunate and homeless and that's okay. But to do a real prayer, you should already have that emotion and feeling. And you should already have that thought that it's already happened. So you should be giving gratitude to God instead of begging him for things. And I've said that from the get-go too. So when I read this book of Thomas, or Audible heard it, I almost became to tears, because everything I have been saying from day one about God is in that book. And it hit home so hard that my heart felt happy, because I am being reassured of what I've been told from my guides. And not only that, is there is written in a book that was eliminated from the Bible. And my question is, why was that book eliminated? Because powerful people did not want you to know that we all have that knowledge inside of us. We've lost track of it because the Bible we see now eliminated all those possibilities. Just think, if we all knew up to this point that we had gifts and could communicate and everything was connected as one, how far in civilization would we be at this point? We'd be a lot farther than we are today. So I will do some series about the Book of Thomas and all these missing books. Great, you have not read them all, but I'm willing to learn and read them just so I can share them with you, so you can understand that no matter what part of life, whether it's the government or the religious aspects of life or whatever, there's always deceitful things. There's always a lot of good things, but there's also very deceitful people who have done things so others couldn't benefit. And I feel like that's what happened with this Bible. King James or Constantine or whoever decided to take these books out because they didn't want people to benefit from these sacred texts. So we're going to do a series of that too. And I'll do a separate series, of course, with all this research of factual proof that psychic mediums do exist and how they've been used in the world, whether medically, with the government, finding missing people, or what have you. So stay tuned. I'm going to make sure I stay on top of this. All right. Love y'all. Believe, 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 and always believe in yourself. Like the Book of Thomas says. All right. Bye, guys. Happy Monday.